Every day we wake up in the slightly different world than it was before, the night before, the day before. In order to keep up with it, we have to improve ourselves, we have to change, and we know that the only constant thing in life is change. The change is the log about innovation, about inspiration, and about motivation. For you, the viewers, but also for us who are working on this one, because we meet so many interesting people. Today with me is my friend Iraklis. Hello, Iraklis.
Good to be here.
Welcome, Tikanis Kalaise. As you can hear, Iraklis is from Athens, from Greece. He has a very interesting story about many learnings in life. And when we were preparing for this interview, for this vlog, the one thing that really got in my ear or eyes is lessons learned. And there are a lot of lessons learned in your life and in your path to success, let's say. We don't say that you're finished your work, but you're on it. And I think that you really know what you want now. And I think that the focus is one of the things that people should have during their development. And so usually I introduce my guest. He was born in Athens, he was working this and that, but your story is a bit more interesting, and I wanted really to hear it from you. You know, I don't like the hosts that start, oh, you can tell us, introduce yourself. No, but tell us the story about you, about Iraklis, who started in Athens, crashed his car. that was the one turning point, you know, and yeah, let's start.
Yeah, before that, just a quick comment. I wish I knew what I want, because you mentioned that I now know what I want. I think I'm just more comfortable with the fact that I don't know what I want. And you know, this is a perpetual thing. You constantly relearn and reiterate on what you think you want.
Yeah,
and it's totally fine to not know what you want, by the way. We're all like, you know, kind of confused in this kind of world of infinite options and so much kind of stimulus and information.
This world of options really inspired this vlog, you know, like, because many people are in some rat race of whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they are afraid just to look at it a little bit on the side and take it, you know, like to the next level. So what we are trying to do to inspire people to take this just a little bit out of the rat race circle, you know, that they're going around. So we start with Iraklis, who is unemployed and has crashed his car.
So unemployed. I was still very young, so I just finished school. I was 19 years old, I think, at the time. And I started like attending my university classes, so I entered like the computer science,
which was very organic and logical, because you come from a musical family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I come from a very musical family. All my family members.
What's your father is playing? What? Buzuki?
So my father is playing clarinet, flute, and saxophone.
Okay.
My mom played the flute for a bit. My sister plays the piano. My twin sister plays the flute, and she's also a dancer. I used to play the violin. My grandfather everyone was a musician. Like, you know, it's crazy. So from that, like from a very artistic kind of place, you're
playing violin and
violin.
Now
I'm playing the electric guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are expecting some Greek rock band in Dubai soon. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There are many Greek rock bands, but yeah, it's work in progress.
Okay.
So yeah, as I was saying, I was like 19 years old, you know, enjoying life, being young and all that. I wasn't really into computers, even though I just got into like computer science. I didn't even know how to turn on a computer. First time it got stuck, and that's a true story. I pulled the plug. That's what I did. Anyway, so
and at that time computers did stuck.
At that time, like, you know, you had like a hard disk of like 20 gigabytes, which is like 1/5 of what you have on your phone now. Anyways, so what happened is I had a car crash, being young and not being very careful on the road, and I kind of almost ridden off the car. But I took it very personally. You know, I wanted to really fix that and wanted to, like, you know, fix it with my own hard-working money. So I started looking for jobs, basically.
While studying computer?
While studying, while studying at the university. So initially I started looking for like all sorts of jobs, like, you know, random things here and there. And what I ended up doing is basically private tutoring, which is very kind of common in Greece, you know, when you study like in the university. So I was doing math and physics. But also I got this kind of weird job where I was picking up a van full with computers. I would go to a school, offload the computers, set them up, and basically teach the kids there some kind of computer class.
And traveling show.
Yeah, and then putting the computers back in the van, driving,
Oh my God.
offloading the computers, and then going back home. So it was like crazy, like, you know, a lot of carrying. Like, it wasn't glamorous, I can tell you that. So after I did that for like maybe like 6-7 months, I was like, you know what, I'm sure there's a better way. Like, you know, I go out, I'm young, I go to like cafes. What about like, you know, finding like a job at a cafe and working as a waiter or something like that. So I got a job as a waiter, actually assistant waiter in the beginning. Then I became a bartender, long story short, which is what I liked. Lots of, you know, fun nights, and it's a really, really interesting experience.
So assistant waiter, and then bartender.
Yeah, I learned a thing from that. I learned that
lesson one.
Yeah, lesson one
Bing.
out of many.
Yeah.
That you cannot end up kind of, you know, manage something, because effectively the bartender is a more senior person at a bar,
Okay.
right? You cannot manage something unless you've done the roles before that. Because when you're at that point, you understand how the whole bar works. You know how to optimize operations. You know how to speak to someone. You know how to inspire someone. You know how to empathize with someone.
Yeah.
If you're just planted as, you know, from zero to hero, you will not have this visibility. You will not have this understanding. And that goes with everything in life. You know, you have to work your way through whatever the higher ranks are.
I always ask myself, is it really the only way? But as you say, it's not always, but
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't claim that I have the answer that this is the only way, because if I did have the answer,
for you it was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It worked for me, or at least, you know, for the way I see life. And then from there on, like, you know, I wasn't really thinking about computers. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was like, I'm going to open my own bar, produce, say, electronic music and all that. I was doing even that. For a phase, I went from rock to electronic.
Okay, that's
the beginning.
Music is music. It's
that's the beginning of 2000s, you know,
okay.
Everyone changed. But then suddenly I was like, you know what, maybe I should do something with this degree that I have, and, you know, start working as a perhaps software engineer or something like that.
But some people, only now, if we look, you had your degree, so you finished university 25 years old, 24,
yeah.
Yeah, so 24, 25 years old, and still you did so many things before, you are still doing things, and do you think that drive is in your genes, like something that you inherited, or it's something that the mixture of chromosomes or something? What's that drive? Because many people do not have drive and the passions about something and the idea to go forward and to spread, expand, and move from the.
I mean, I wouldn't go into like saying something about. I don't know about genetics, because, like, you know, there's a typical example of like Beethoven, right? They say, like, if Beethoven was born on a deserted island, would he be Beethoven? Probably not. But he was born in, like, you know, the right
family
time, the right place.
Yeah, for sure.
He had the talent, but he also had the right environment. So I think the environment and what you make of it is probably the reason why I had this drive.
But interesting thing is, outside family, you are making your own environment. You are picking up the people to hang out with and to expand and grow with.
But your formative years, which is like, you know, 0 to 4, whatever you learn and whatever gets kind of printed on your kind of hard disk stays with you forever. What I had learned from those years, or kind of the way that I was brought up since I remember myself being the problem solver, the one who doesn't rely or doesn't expect something else to come as a solution, but I have to figure it out. So that's perhaps how this drive came into play. And that's why, like, whenever I see a problem, you know, I jump into it straight away.
That's for many people, that's courage. You're like.
I don't know. I mean, this is how life evolved me. You know, I wouldn't take the credit for it, but
So you have your degree. You want to go into programming and.
And I get my first job as a basically IT consultant, and we're working with a very big network operator company, and we're trying to. So I joined basically, I forgot to say, I joined this consultancy, this small firm, and we're building with this very big network operator, trying to basically replace their billing and rating engine. Very big project, lots of people involved, lots of money. Hope not much money on me, but anyways. And that was my first kind of exposure on, like, you know, serious
Big
kind
business,
of
big
office,
business.
you know, serious like day jobs.
But you were still cruising through it, yeah?
I was still a bartender, by the way.
No.
Yeah, so I was working Monday to Friday, like day
Yeah.
job, and Friday night, Saturday night, and even sometimes midweek,
Yeah.
I would be a bartender night.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't know which one is which, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we will never know that. Like,
But yeah, so I was doing that for maybe 2-3 years. So I was doing parallel both jobs, and then at some point I started kind of getting a bit bored with corporate style of work, and I got approached to join a startup. So I was like, that sounds exciting, that sounds interesting. So I took I did the jump. I joined that company. It hadn't even formed yet. It was very, very early. And 1 month in, after I joined, suddenly there was no company. Because as it happens with startups, investment and stuff like that come and go. So apparently the investors didn't really work out between them. Yeah. And basically there ended, there was no startup. So then the next option that was given to me, that was presented to me, was that, hey, would you like to get on a plane and go to Berlin? Because we're working with some team in Berlin.
So another change. So many changes in your life.
Yeah.
And we just started, you're still 27.
27,
years.
Yeah. So next thing you know, I get on a flight to Berlin to go and interview for this sister company that we're working with. Mm-hmm. Funny story, you see me, I'm very casual, but what I did is I had a suit with me because I thought that, I have to be suited and booted because it's serious. It's
company.
It's Germany as well,
So you dressed you on your best suit?
So I changed actually at the airport. I put my suit, my best and only suit, which probably I had bought for some wedding, I'm not sure. And then I rock up at the place to do the interview. And I remember
You said it was the warmest day of the year in Berlin.
That summer was the warmest summer in 50 years or something in Berlin.
You were in the suit, yes. 4th floor without elevator.
Most buildings in East Berlin, like that area, they don't really have lifts, so you have to go by the stairs. Berlin is not really equipped for heat like here, so there's not many ACs and all that. Yeah. So it was overall challenging,
And you are in the suit.
And I'm in a suit.
Door open.
As if this is not enough, I knock on the door, which already I started feeling like this doesn't really feel like an office. It feels like someone's house. Yeah. So I knock on the door, and indeed it was someone's house. It was a very, very small startup. The CEO at the time, he opened the door wearing shorts and being barefoot, basically. He looks at me, he's like, where did you come from? This kind of look on his face. But anyways, we started chatting, we started the whole interview process, and pretty soon it was obvious that I wasn't exactly equipped for, what I needed to know to do that job.
It was challenging for you.
It was very challenging, it was very new things that I didn't know.
What were your feelings at the moment? Were you afraid of it, or were you?
Well, there's this kind of weird thing about challenges and the unknown with me. So what happens is I feel uncomfortable feeling comfortable. So I keep pushing myself into things that even though I'm hating them while I'm doing them, if I make it to the other end, I feel good about myself. And the way I have kind of visioned that is, I don't know if you've ever done any sort of martial arts or boxing or something like that. Yeah. So it's like a good round of sparring where you get your rear end kicked, but you end up finishing the round and you're like, well, you know what? Okay, I took a beating, but I threw two as well. Yeah. So that's this kind of feeling. And it's only through this kind of process, it's only through this kind of process that you actually learn. Because that's when you really, really push yourself.
As they say, the boat is safe in the harbor, but it's not made for the harbor. It's made for the rough seas or any kind of seas, So you said, okay, I'm challenging myself and I will give my best to fit in.
Yeah, so I moved to Berlin. I started working with the guys right away. Very, very challenging, long hours, long days, but whoa, I learned so much. I mean, if anything, I really enjoyed, it's so inspiring to be with people that you feel you can learn from and you look up to. And if anything, it's actually good or beneficial, but also very uncomfortable to feel like you're the stupidest person in the room. But I think it's a very much process that helps you grow.
Of course, if you are feeling nothing good ever came out from the comfort zone,
Exactly.
So I think that you're a really right person for this. The name of the vlog, The Change, and the lessons learned, you know. So okay. So, but you after you said you were working more than 7 days a week. You were working
Yeah.
8 days a week. And,
If there were, yeah.
yeah. And so many hours and overtime and everything. But you caught up, and then you become the part of the team somehow.
Yeah. And I started like running basically that project that I was working on, and I was actually running the project with a cross geography team. So we had like a team in Latin America, we had our team in Berlin, there was a team here in the Middle East, in Dubai. So it was like very challenging because like, you know, you think like different time zones, even different work weeks, you know. Think of the work week in Mexico versus the work week in Dubai. So it was very challenging. All that doing all this work kind of remotely in a asynchronous fashion, which is, you know, the way I think, you know, the way forward for like distributed teams. So it was very, very interesting. I mean, I grew a lot from that. I learned so much.
And how you end up how did you end up on the Middle East then?
So yeah,
so we are now in Dubai. You're here for eight
and a half almost years.
Yeah. So how did you end up here?
So basically, the project that I was working on in Berlin, one of the sister companies was a company here in Dubai. So what was happening basically is we had a software house and we're building this platform, and then we would like distribute that platform to the sister companies. So the one in Dubai, I don't know if I should mention the name or if I can mention it.
Of course you can mention it. If you want to mention it,
Of course, it's one of my favorite companies. So it's Cobone.com. So it was back in the glory days of group buying, where it was all about, you know, 1-for-1 and coupons and discounts. And I was basically one of the people that helped build the platform for Cobone.com, the technical one. Obviously, there were so many other amazing people, and you know, that helped the company grow. And it was such an interesting kind of emotional roller coaster seeing, like, you know, a company growing from literally nothing, from non-existence, into like biggest player in the region. And you would see in the beginning, like, you know, days, like the whole mood of the team was like we had a collective mood. You know, on a good day, everyone would be like, you know, feeling amazing and like pumped and all that. And on a bad day, you would see like the disappointment in people's faces.
Collective energy.
It was our baby, right?
Yeah.
And it was crazy to see something from like, you know, going from that small to that big. And that was...
I remember when I was on a conference where the guys from Uber spoke, and they said, you know, they remember the time when they sit in front of the laptop and saw 3 vehicles driving at the same time in San Francisco, and they were like, yes, we did it, you know, like,
I know
and
the
then
feeling.
Just forward, you know the feeling.
I know the feeling.
Yeah,
I definitely know the feeling.
You grow from few coupons sold.
Yeah, I mean, there would be days I would sell like maybe one, like I'm talking like very, very early days. And then suddenly we were like, you know, you know, there's no such thing as overnight success.
Yeah.
A lot of people they worked really, really hard.
No, you can say asses off.
They worked their asses off for this to happen, and you know, I mean, the team did very, very well, and it became one of the big success stories of the Middle East.
Really? You have my database there.
Yeah, I'm sure we do.
Yeah. So we use the service. So Cobone now is really successful, but you say that this age of coupon buying is kind of past, or still?
I mean, there's still many players out there doing offers and 1-for-1 and all that. I just think it has now become more kind of normal. Back then it was the hype, if you will. There was a lot of hype around it. You know, even VCs were approaching those companies as like, you know, the unicorns, and like, you know, look at what happened with Groupon and all that. So it was very, very like, you know, fashionable back then. But it was my first exposure as well to, you know, building something from very small and scaling it to a degree that, you know, you see like infinite ways that your users can break your platform. Either on purpose, because we even had like malicious activity, or just like, you know, because you've built something that doesn't work for all cases. So it was very, very interesting.
Yes, but you learned so many things. You learned in Athens with this big company, and then in Berlin you caught up with a team. Here you had a success, but still something in you didn't let you like. You wanted to have something on your own. That's the.
So I started getting the entrepreneurial bug, I think.
Okay.
Which for me was very new because I don't come from a family of like, you know, entrepreneurs and all that. It makes a huge difference if, you know, if your dad
Many people do not come. Being entrepreneur 20 years ago was like not 20, but let's say 40 years ago was not that common.
Yeah.
And now it's maybe a hype even, you know, to be an entrepreneur. but definitely there are people, and I can tell you're one of them, that have this drive and passion about something, to jump into the unknown and struggle the way out.
Yeah,
it's
it's scary, but it's fun. If it's
scary,
as I say, yeah.
Like,
if it's easy, it ain't fun, right? So that's the way it has to go.
Sure. So you started then business, which was very logical thing with cosmetics.
Very logical.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
It would be even funnier if I said that I started a business about hair products. Can you imagine?
What an irony of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
me, on the other hand, like me starting a wellness, fitness and wellness company.
Looking good. If you're happy, you're well. So yeah, I started this business. It was basically around like beauty products. It was a beauty products discovery platform. So you would get a box with products, with samples, and then if you like the samples, you could get the full size products. So pure like e-commerce player.
So you're sending the packages and everything.
So you would get, let's say, for ladies like a lip gloss and a lip balm and a face cream and stuff like that. And if they liked it, they could buy the full size.
So it's a startup
products.
again.
Yeah.
So from previous startup, you learned about scaling. You learned about succeeding from zero to hero. Mm-hmm. And what was the learning from this one, cosmetics business?
Well, cosmetic business. One thing that I learned is that it's so rewarding. When something is your own thing, when it's your baby, you will go the extra mile to make it work, to make it happen. And I remember providing basically customer support at the same time while I was developing the site. So I was, the engineer.
You were saying about chats,
and I was also doing live chats. So I would help customers with their queries on, what kind of products they need. And to be honest, I'm not an expert, but on that moment, I would make sure I would become the expert. I would do as much research as required, and I would actually come back with something valuable. And seeing those customers actually buying this product and feeling that you actually serve them, such a rewarding experience.
Yeah, that's the big lesson learned. And towards business wise, you had some downsides of this business also.
Downsides, yeah. So one thing is basically I learned that if you're going to do something, because you're probably going to have to stick with it for quite some time, do something that you're passionate about. So beauty products perhaps is not my cup of tea, even though it sounds like an interesting business. So that's one thing that I learned. So if you ask me now if I am to start something about travel, music, sports, fitness, it's something that I'm passionate about. I could see myself doing something about that. The other thing is that it's important to be careful about the founding team. How do you found something? Starting something with a friend could be a good idea, but it's not necessarily by default a good idea.
Just be careful. That's the learning. And
I would say when you start something, because you're on a shoestring budget and you're very tight on resources, make sure that first of all you share the same core principles. It's very important. And that everyone brings something to the table. There's no room for just show, or there's no room for fundamental disagreements in your core principles. I feel it's important to bring different skills, and the way
and compromise, yes, but not in the core skills and core values that you share.
The way I envision a team is like Ocean's 11. You don't have to have one guy who is the acrobat, the driver, the thief, and all that. You have different people, and you delegate, and you trust each other with your own life. So if you can't feel that you can trust someone, that sits at the very, very bottom of the whole pyramid of any team. If there's no trust, everything is fragile.
I'm sure that we will have a lot of learnings and key points and titles like trust.
I've lost the count.
Which layer? I think this is 14th. I think for now. Let's see. But you continued to work as a consultant for some IT startups and.
That was on the side, so I still had my day job while all this was happening. And I was also doing some consultancy on the side, helping some other entrepreneurs, either with technical, with different sorts of technical services, or even other things.
Okay, and then the big request or big question came from an amazingly big company.
Not yet. So then I joined another company.
Oh yeah.
You missed it. You missed it.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. So then I joined another company, which it was very early days again. Another similar startup that had just got some traction. Very exciting concept, exciting team. And I joined there to basically lead their technology team, which started from basically myself, and we grew the team. We got some really, really good people. We nurtured them. We trained them. The whole team grew. We became another success story. The company is actually sukalmal.com. It's a very, very popular company here in the region. And it was a very, very interesting journey. Difficult. It wasn't easy.
But it's your cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly. I asked for it, right? I learned a lot of things. One of the things that I learned was keep it simple. I kind of made my life a bit difficult with perhaps like over-engineering some things. So that was a learning. It was a learning as well to start looking at technology in a different way. When you start your kind of technology career, you feel that every problem requires for a technological solution. And you put technology in the spotlight. So when you put technology in the spotlight,
you don't think about.
Sometimes you create like products that don't necessarily resonate with your customers. So we didn't really suffer from that because we had a very good, very popular product. But still, if there's one thing that I kind of learned is that technology effectively is an enabler. Unless you build something that technology is its core kind of USP. So unless you bring something that's like into genetics or AI or robotics or something like that, which, this is the core thing. If it lacks that, then there's no business. For most other business, like even you mentioned like Uber and Airbnb. In the beginning, Uber, and I was actually listening to a podcast this morning about Uber. They didn't have a fancy kind of like, routes matching optimization algorithm, none of that. You would pick up the phone, call a driver, and they would call the driver, and the driver would have to go there.
And that was the beginning.
Like technology was just like you have an app, you have a site. That's the enabler. It wasn't that much about the technology. It was about the convenience, about the service.
It's not about the effort you put in, it's about the result you get. That's
you still put effort, but the effort is not solely on technology. So there's a lot of other things. So
that was the learning from this one. And then the big question came.
Then yes, indeed, a very big company approached me, which is Visa. So they approached me to join their innovation center here in Dubai. And it was very, very exciting conversation to have. Like, for me, my kind of mantra is to solve interesting problems with interesting people. And when you think about like the scale that, Visa operates and the impact that it can have on like literally billions of people and touch their lives and make them better, for me that was like, it was a very interesting place to be. And especially when it comes to innovation, you feel like sky's the limit, you can apply new practices to old problems.
Cutting edge of technology.
Exactly. Not always though, because it's very interesting. Some of the most innovative solutions are not about high tech. They're actually about low tech, but being very empathetic and spot on what the problem is. And especially with one of the big problems that I was hoping that we're going to address, which was financial inclusion, which is basically right now we have like around 2 billion people in the world that are not included in the financial system, the banking system. And because of that, they don't have access to basic financial instruments that they could use to basically propel their business. To keep it simple, let's say, for example, you're a shop owner in Kenya, right? And you need to be able to have a way of getting access to $10 to buy inventory for the next day to run your business and then scale up your business. And when I say scale up your business, I'm not saying start a chain. I'm saying like, make the most of it. But it's very expensive, or it's not always available for people in some regions to have access to those financial instruments. So they kind of excluded. So that's one of the problems that I was like passionate about. Also, like, I was looking a lot into like blockchain, not because it's a buzzword, but because it's a genuinely interesting technology, which it can have many applications, but not all the applications that you hear now, which is like, we're going to solve everything with blockchain.
Everything will be with blockchain.
So there were a couple of like, interesting concepts that I was very keen on like kind of exploring with Visa. So it was, as I said, like it was an exciting proposal, and I decided to do the jump.
And you're still in Visa.
I'm still there,
and innovating, and
so my role has changed a bit, not that much on core innovation, but
So what the future holds?
So depending on the market, and like each market comes with its own dynamics. So as we said, like for example, you have areas that might not be very technologically advanced, or you might have areas that are technologically advanced. Overall, I think where the financial world is going is more speed, because some things still take like days. Think about like transferring money back home, right, with a traditional kind of banking system. That still takes a lot of time. And there is now actually some technologies that are kind of promoting a much more real-time transaction, transfer of funds. So there's things like speed, I think, which the financial world has been left a bit behind. More transparency, so knowing real time exactly why you pay, how much you pay in terms of fees, personalization, and a lot of that has to do with also learning from your past behavior, your current behavior, so that you're able to get access to products that are most relevant to you. And based on that, also assess dynamically things like your risk score or like your credit profile. So there's a lot of things that I think have to happen.
Speed will happen. We were at the conference, Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and in fintech even in Singapore, and the main buzzword is 5G. Everybody's talking about 5G. Like you said, blockchain will solve all the problems. As someone who is not in the industry sees it, it's just a speed to the next speed brought up to the next level. But do you think that this 5G will change those things that you are talking about, bringing more speed to communication between the devices, machines?
Yeah, without being an expert, so I don't want to claim that I know exactly.
We want your opinion.
Yeah, I do understand this. As any kind of more advanced and next kind of iteration of any technology, obviously it brings some benefits. What I don't believe in, though, is I don't believe in silver bullets. I don't believe that there's one thing that suddenly will solve everything. This doesn't seem to work this way. Everything happens organically. It takes time, and it does add value, but it doesn't change the world instantly. That's what I feel. It does bring a lot of potential. There is always a question with potential: is what do you make with it? What do you make of it or with it? And what I mean is okay, let's say
is it the best solution, or
it's not about it's the best solution. Yeah. It's if we're talking about having, for example, let's say faster internet connections, so that we can all live stream our personal life, for example. Is this the best use of that technology? Is this where years of evolution or brilliant minds came together to invent something to use it for that? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm not here to, I don't know what's the best use. But what I'm saying is that with every new technology, it's important that we put it to work for the development of humanity as a whole, I feel.
So I'm sure no matter you are working in Visa, that in your mind there are still some new startups and new ideas about innovation, and as you said, how can you change the world? Is there anything that is coming soon from your kitchen?
There is something. There's something I'm cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to say something about it?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's jump into it.
So it's called LoclPal. LoclPal.com.
Without A, yeah.
Without the first A.
Yeah,
LoclPal.
Yeah, LoclPal. Yeah.
And it's basically it's a travel community. It's a community of travelers and like-minded locals, where they can get together, not physically, but they can get matched and they can chat, so that travelers can discover unique things to do in different places around the world based on their interests. So just to give an example, let's say I go tomorrow to Belgrade, and I have set up my profile, and in my profile I love music and sports. I could get matched to like-minded locals in Belgrade, and even before I travel or while I'm there, and ask them and chat with them, it's all chat-based for now, to discover really unique local things to do. So things that you will not find necessarily online, as in touristic things or guides, or from review sites and all that. It's a much more curated personal experience, and it's very much the experience of, I don't know if you, I realized when I was building this that I have been that for probably most of my kind of foreign life, living in places other than my home country. And what I mean is when people come to Dubai, for example, friends of me, and they message me hey, I'm coming there on these dates, what do you think I should do? This is exactly what I'm doing with them. I'm thinking about, I know my friends, I know what they like. I recommend things to them that they wouldn't find elsewhere. And the whole thing about traveling is that me personally, I travel a lot, but I'm very I leave everything for last minute, and I usually get overwhelmed with the plethora of options. There's just too many, right? And it ends up for me being a stressful experience trying to plan all that. So I avoid it until I start planning for things to do before I land on the plane. Yeah. So that's also probably not the best. And the kind of metaphor that I'm using is that the way I envision like, you know, a good traveling experience when it comes to recommendations is, it's like, have you been to a restaurant where like you sit down? So think of two different restaurants. One is you sit down and you get like a huge menu. You flick through the pages and you start being like, I don't know what I should get. You start like, you know,
I take everything, as you can say.
It's very difficult. But then have you been to another type of restaurant where you just sit, you know, they do one thing, but they nail it. You sit down and they just bring it to you. But they're confident. They bring to you confidently something that they know you will love.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the experience I want to bring. I want the experience of having a local who understands you, and you're not going to have to go again through the same process of like, oh, searching this, that option, opening 15 tabs. That person's going to come to you and it's going to be like, hey, Evan, I know that you really love this thing. Hear me out. Do this thing. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
I want to bring this experience, but personalized, very empathetic.
So I don't have to meet the other person. It's just by...
Not for now, For now, it's all chat-based. So that means that basically, that means many good things. So first of all, you can do things that are at your own pace. You don't have to commit to like, you know, we're going to commit for 3 hours for a tour and that's what's going to happen. You have continuous access to information. So you can plan your whole day. You can do that while you're at your home country, while planning your trip, or while you're at the destination. On the other side, on the local side, a local can be a local from more than one places.
Of course.
Right?
Because you know some hidden gems of
So me, for example, I'm Greek. I've been brought up in Athens. I live in Dubai and I've lived in Berlin. So in theory, I could be a local in all these 3 places.
For sure. And also, you are not local in Athens that much anymore, yeah?
Not that much anymore, which
So you can use your app to go there.
Exactly.
And to be honest, we are going on a shooting like in 4 days in Athens.
You should check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely will check it out and see, because it's always, you know, like when I go to these big touristic advertised restaurants or places, whatever, I feel like a sheep, you know, like for the skin, shape for the.
It's funny. I had an aha moment when I used a very popular service, reviews service, while I was in Athens. So as you said, like, you know, I am a local, but there was a specific area that I didn't know much. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do what everyone is doing. I'm gonna use that review service. So I used that service and I went to the #1 recommended place. And it felt so touristic for me, being a local. It felt like Zorba the Greek. I'm like, we're gonna start breaking plates here. So that was an aha moment. I was like, okay, because obviously other tourists review something. So tourists don't necessarily know me, they don't know what I like, and they don't know as a local a place.
For sure, and with this profile and everything. But even more to that, you said that basically LoclPal is just the first of many applications that could be built on the same engine and the same, let's say, platform or framework.
I'm happy you brought that up. So the way I kind of approach it is like, initially I wanted to put in front of me, like if you can visualize it, all the ingredients for me to start making most of the dishes, right? So think of a cooking show where you like, you know, you have in front of you some flour, some sugar, some whatever other kind of common ingredients most types of food need. That's a very broad generalization. But what I'm trying to say is that I wanted to put together the ingredients to make a startup engine, an engine to build startups on top of it, right?
Like open platform, or
it's not open, it's
semi-open,
proprietary for now. But that was the initial thing, and that I wanted to do for LoclPal itself, but also for like potential other spin-offs. Now, as I was proceeding further with that, the whole concept that I had in mind was a concept of, I call it P2P mentoring. So basically you have two sides. You have the side that needs information and the side that has the information. That applies to many things. It could apply to travel, like LoclPal. I'm a traveler, hey, I need some information, you're the local. It can apply to, I don't know, legal advice. It can apply to trading. So you have someone who's a trading expert, someone who's a trading novice. So the way I approach it is that LoclPal would be the first instantiation of that. So it would be the first baby that would get born from that kind of concept, and that would be the beginning. Now, after that, anything else could be the LoclPal of something. The same way now we say, like, you know, this is the Uber of payments. Well, I'm hoping, but you know, you have to, as I say, we have to actually give a talk with that subject. You have to dream big, but build small. So
for sure, that is how. But you have a big picture. And that's the difference, you know, because startups usually they have this startup and that's it, you know. You have a vision that it's not scalable only vertically, but also horizontally. You can build so many things around that platform.
But on that point as well, and going back into the initial kind of startup engine, what I always maintain is that I don't maintain that, this is it, this is the way it's going to make it, this is definitely a success. I maintain a very open mind. I keep my ear to the ground. I hear my customers. And that's the reason why I build that platform so dynamic. I know I'm going to have to iterate. I'm not going to have to even like,
there is one lesson learned: don't over-engineer,
or build modular things. Don't assume too much. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that's exactly what I have applied here.
No, that's one thing is for sure. After so many experiences that you had and lessons learned, and from zero to hero stories, I would say that this is something to go to. Like YouTubers have a problem now. Even the big things like Instagram or WhatsApp or who were sold for so many. The owners didn't manage to get another Instagram, another WhatsApp or something like that. With this one you can have by order. Platform peer-to-peer communication
and another very interesting thing which happened with Instagram, I don't know if you know, I think Instagram started as a whiskey reviews app, something like that.
Really?
Within that, there was a feature that was sharing photos. And they had applied some filters, I believe, for like kind of older cameras. So they saw that the whiskey app was not very popular, but that feature was getting used a lot.
And they extracted.
So many interests in business have come out of byproducts of something else. So the more you approach something as a modular kind of entity, the more you can give the chance to byproducts to flourish, to come up to surface.
So one among many things that our viewers who are thinking about some things and steps in life and the changes in life can learn also is not to overthink and listen to the community, listen to the users, and then iterate the path that way. That's also.
I mean, I'm personally a planner, so I'm guilty of that. I'm trying to be less of that when it comes to at least how I build a business. But I would say that in many instances, it's better to just jump right in. But I'm not saying jump right in as in
for sure.
Quit your job and risk everything and all that. Like, just start a small experiment, basically. That's what I'm saying. Start a small experiment. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to scale. Measure, do a temp check, see what happens, see what's the kind of response, and take it from there. Don't start from I'm gonna build this huge mammoth system and then I hope people will come to it. So what I was saying is that, I was thinking about, as we were having this really cool chat, I was thinking that to someone externally, they might look at us having this chat and, we're smiling, we seem like, happy with everything. They're like, look at them. I wish I had it all figured out. And what I was thinking is that, at least I can speak for myself.
No, you can speak for both of us. For sure.
We definitely don't have it figured out. I mean, there's days that I feel completely I don't know how to go about what I should be doing. There's days where you might feel demotivated. There's days where you infinitely procrastinate. There's days where you just look at a piece of paper and you're like, what's next? Then there's days you're on fire. Everything happens, right? But it's okay, it's cool. And that's the normal process. It's completely normal. So you don't have to, on top of your own internal stress and the fact that you get bombarded with information of successful people, which some of them might have been working for many, many, many years, and maybe they had many mistakes until they reached that success. But you only see the end result. So
there is no overnight success. It's like an iceberg. That's the.
It's an accumulation of failures.
I couldn't agree more. Everybody is waiting for something to everything to be fine, and then I will continue. There is no such thing. There is no safe haven. There is no green branch or leaf, how you call it. Like everybody is. If you're waiting for that, you will die, and you will never. You should just adapt. All the problems you have will always be there, because usually everybody say the problem is money. Man, there's so many. There is a Chinese proverb that says, if the money can solve the problem, that is not a problem.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
and that's for sure. So the problems are all around us. It's about how do you handle it, and then that's it. But you wanted to say something about the States and about the hope and about American dream. That we just turned off the camera, but
Yeah.
let's
No,
make this,
I was just saying that, you know, because like there's a lot of information that is being kind of like disseminated, which basically portrays that American dream, you know, like the image of like, you know, ultimate success, without really going into detail about how that happened. And it's all very much like cinematic and very like, you know, Hollywood-like. But reality is not like that. And that's why I feel like even there, but also here, like you see a lot of people who are kind of like disheartened, demotivated, because they feel like, wow, this is so far from me, and I don't know how I'm gonna get there. So I might as well not even start. And here comes not a learner, but a little kind of hack that I have. So I'll give an example. When sometimes you receive a difficult email that you have to respond, right? And you just try and avoid it. What I have developed as a hack is just hit on reply, type hi, let's say hi Ivan, thanks Iraklis. Type that.
Yeah.
You instantly, your brain goes instantly into replying mode. I know you didn't do anything substantial, but you put your mind in the situation that has to think that. Same applies with everything in life.
That's it. That first step.
Yeah.
We're working on one big project for a Forbes 10 company, you know, like in the world. And I was like, oh man, where can I start this? Oh no. And then I said, okay, let's open Word. Let's open Word. And then my hack is like, because this is off the record, and I can, you know, so my hack is just start, whatever it comes to mind, just start typing.
Yes.
Just start typing, whatever. You will make it up. And to be honest, the structure comes out. It's not like I'm writing words or sentences which I'm saying, you know, like words, and then I will mash up everything. No, it's really comes out with the context and with in line, just a little tweaks. But just the first step is, as you said, hello, thanks.
Yes.
You know, like, and then you so that procrastination is difficult. I was suggested one book today, No Excuses.
Okay.
By sorry, I will have to read that.
Fine.
So No Excuses. That's it. Just start. If we were waiting for this vlog, to be honest, this setup is not perfect for a vlog. But if we're waiting for the perfect setup and everything, what changes? It doesn't change your life. It doesn't change your story. That's it. You know.
Exactly.
So we agree on so many things.
Yeah, something of something small is, you know, bigger than zero of something big, right? And I think, like, you know, what many people kind of don't see is, first of all, that there's so much detail that is involved when you actually do something, and there's so much that you have to do yourself. And sometimes, like, you know, with LoclPal, for example, the way it feels for me is like, you remember back in the day you used to go to like McDonald's and say, or some other brand. You used to go and they had the microphones, you remember?
Yeah.
You used to place an order and they had like one Big Mac, please. And that would go back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Building a startup, the way I see it is like, I'm the guy who takes the order in the microphone, and then I go back and make the burger myself.
And
then I bring it back again. So I just, you know, change hats, put my apron on, build the burger, put it in front.
And in States, all of these dreams, no matter how hard and it is, but the hope that I can be the one to get this American dream, you know, it's something that is big there and not so big in Greece or Serbia or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the everybody thinks, you know. So the difference between me doing YouTube videos in Serbia and being penniless, it's one thing, and being penniless and doing YouTube videos in States is plus hope, you know. And this hope, I think it's a good driver to.
It's all kind of getting normalized though, because right now, if you think about how interconnected the world is and how much exposed we are to the same information that someone in the States or someone in Germany or someone in China is, effectively, like, you know, we all start wanting the same things.
Yeah.
So if you see now, for example, the younger generation, the kind of dreams that they have, they're very much aligned with what a child in the US would have.
And like 50 years ago, it was like
yeah, because we didn't have the same exposure.
Yeah. That's really good. I would say motivation to the people to just start doing something. Like we did this vlog, we just started talking with people and finding more and more inspiration between them. I would say, to wrap up this conversation, which I'm sure it's just a starters of long friendship, as they say in Casablanca. They say that in life there are only two person you have to satisfy and keep satisfied. One is you at age of 7, and the other one is you at age of 80. I think that for now you are really good in this, both of this. But this boy, as you said, in the years of 0 to 4, 0 to 6, like, is doing his best to jump into not every, but so many opportunities and changes into life. So we really didn't give the name to this vlog, The Change, just to be the change, but to say that the only constant in life is change.
It is.
That boat is built for the safest in the harbor, but it's not what it is built for. And I think that hearing out your story from the car crash and doing this road show for computer science, whatever classes are in the schools, and assistant waiter, bartender, and then let's do something that I was taught that I learned the school for, and I think it's very inspirational. So many of your lessons, I think it's applicable, and I'm sure when we release the book from this vlog, The Change, so many lessons will be from this vlog today.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ for the chat.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
And let's keep in touch, and let's see how LoclPal goes. And for sure, good luck in changing the world with Visa, since it's really an opportunity that is really not given to everyone, and you have the possibility to access so millions and millions of people.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Like this vlog. The same thing.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And of course, thank you for watching and keeping up with us. And make sure to like this vlog, because I'm sure that you liked it. And make sure to subscribe to hear what's new in the change world. Thank you very much for watching, and do the change.